Wedding Bells Ahead by Arleta Richardson. Chapter 4. Toby's Discovery. October was not the bright blue weather the poet promised. It rained and blew and was generally unpleasant. So at times were the children.
"Miss O'Dell, Toby juggled my arm and ruined my writing lesson,"
Nancy Lawton complained.
"Jiggled?" I said. "I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose." "Yes, I did,"
Toby asserted.
"She snitched my new slate pencil." "You have two. You don't need two." "Nancy," I said, "it doesn't matter how many he has. They belong to him, and you've no business helping yourself to one. Give it back, please."
If order was restored in the second grade, it did not extend to the third and fourth. I was putting a lesson on the board when Hannah Sawyer called out,
"Miss O'Dell, look at Teddy."
I turned to see what Teddy Sawyer might be doing. When I did, I found two innocent brown eyes looking my way.
"Well?" "He keeps turning around and making faces at me. He's mad 'cause I told Pa he left the sheep gate open." "Teddy, keep your face toward the front of the room, please. Both of you finish your lessons."
I returned to the board.
"He kicked me, Miss O'Dell,"
Hannah wailed.
"Teddy!" "I never turned around. You just said keep my face." "I know what I said," I interrupted. "I also know what I'm going to do if you don't settle down. I don't want to hear any more from any of you."
Quiet was restored until recess time when everyone departed for the playground in spite of the blustery weather. I put George Eliot in charge and told him not to call me unless someone was in danger of being annihilated. It was not just the younger children who reacted to the windy weather. Carrie Lawton had been moping about school for several days. She didn't have a lot to say to any of us in the best of times, and I searched for some way to draw her out. Nothing I said elicited more than a,
"No, ma'am,"
or,
"Yes, ma'am."
her schoolwork was done acceptably, so I finally decided to leave her alone until she was over the sulks. But if Carrie was silent, her sister Julianne was not. I heard more about the Lawton family than I wanted to know.
"Carrie doesn't like it 'cause she has to wear Elizabeth's old dresses,"
Julianne informed me.
"She thinks Pa favors Elizabeth because she brings money home every week. Carrie says she won't even come home once she gets out to work."
It occurred to me that given the circumstances in the Lawton home, I probably wouldn't either. I hadn't seen Elizabeth since school started, and I was glad to keep it that way. I didn't know whether or not she attended church on Sunday mornings, and I didn't inquire. Mr. Williams's birthday fell on Saturday, and Augusta and I were invited to have dinner with the family. Len's cousin Alice and her husband were there, as well as his two sisters and their families. Altogether, there were 16 of us around their big table. I then realized that this was the first time I had been part of a Williams family gathering, and I listened with interest as they reminisced about the past.
"The house looks smaller than it did when we all lived here, Ma,"
Lillian commented.
"I used to think this kitchen was huge." "Especially when we had to scrub it," Frances chimed in. "Len never would remember to take his boots off outside."
She looked at me.
"You don't know how lucky you were not to have a younger brother, Mabel. You can't imagine what a pest one can be." "You mean a younger one causes more suffering than two older ones?" I laughed. "That hardly seems possible." "I'm so glad Leonard has chosen a nice, quiet girl like you to marry," Lillian said. "I didn't think that oldest Lawton girl would leave him alone long enough to let him even look at anyone else. What was her name?" "Elizabeth," Frances supplied. "She's planned on marrying him since they were 5 years old. I imagine she's mighty disappointed."
"Furious is more like it,"
Augusta sniffed.
"She hasn't liked Mabel since she first set eyes on her. I can see trouble from that one." "Let's talk about something pleasant," said Len. "Alice and John, how are you coming on your house?" I was grateful to have the conversation turn. Elizabeth's name didn't come up again until Len had left Augusta and me on our porch at the end of the evening. "Mark my words," Augusta said. "Elizabeth hasn't given up on Len yet. She's a sly one and she knows how to take advantage of Len's good nature."
Remembering some of the tricks Elizabeth had pulled the year before, I was tempted to believe Augusta, but I wouldn't admit it.
"I I think she knows better than to pursue him now that we're engaged, I said. I don't intend to waste my time worrying about Elizabeth Lawton.
Don't say you weren't warned. You'd be wise to keep an eye on that young man of yours, especially on the weekends when you're off home.
If I don't trust Len, I have no business planning to marry him, I replied. Besides, how am I going to watch him while I'm home?
Augusta had no answer for that, and I went to get ready for bed.
So she is here on the weekends,
I thought as I lay staring into the dark.
She wouldn't dare try to get Len away from me now.
I tried to comfort myself with the thought that Augusta had a habit of expecting the worst. Later that week, I returned from school to find Augusta seated in the rocker with her hands folded in her lap.
Augusta, are you sick?
I asked.
Of course not,
she snapped.
I'm never sick. A waste of time.
Oh, well, you're usually doing something.
I am doing something. I'm thinking.
She watched as I took off my coat and started for my room.
I had another visit from that Mr. Grayson today.
I turned around and came back.
He still wants to buy your place?
She nodded.
He was quite insistent. He's willing to give me more than I ever knew it was worth. Makes me a mite suspicious. What do we know about him anyway? He wouldn't be the first city slicker to try to cheat an old lady out of her living.
You aren't an old lady, Augusta,
I told her.
And I'd like to see the city slicker that would cheat you out of anything. Besides, Len is sure that Mr. Grayson is an honest man.
Len thinks the best of everyone,
Augusta replied.
I try not to let Mr. Grayson's lack of faith color my opinion, but how far can you trust a man who thinks God doesn't pay any attention to him?
I had no answer for that. The same thought had crossed my mind, but I did have confidence in Len's good instincts.
One thing is for sure, Augusta, I said. You don't have to sell if you don't want to. It isn't as though Mr. Grayson could foreclose on you or anything like that.
She nodded, but I could see that she was worried. I thought perhaps that if Len talked with her, it might ease her mind. But before I could mention it to him, something else came along to occupy my own. The younger children were digging in the dirt at the corner of the schoolhouse when Toby called to me.
Look, Miss O'Dell, see what we found?
I came to investigate, and the others gathered around us. The digging had revealed a good-sized rock beneath the frame structure of the building.
It's got writing on it,
Rosie exclaimed.
What does it say?
We brushed the dirt away and read the inscription. North Branch of Chippewa River School, 1792.
That's the name of our river,
Jamie said.
Is that what North Branch used to be called?
Has the school really been here that long? Elsie wondered.
If it has, it's 100 years old this year.
Toby sat back on his heels and looked at the building.
100 years? That's older than my pa.
It's older than your grandpa, too,
George laughed.
I wonder if Grandpa knows the school is having its 100th birthday this year.
Let's have a party, Prudence suggested. Everyone in North Branch could come. Most of them probably went to school here.
Who do you suppose is the oldest one living?
Joel said.
It might be my Grandma Gage.
There must have been a lot of teachers here in 100 years,
Carrie said.
Some of them are still alive. We could invite them to a party. Recess is over, I said. Let's go inside and talk about it. You've raised a lot of interesting questions. Could you find out the answers for us, Miss O'Dell?
Teddy asked.
I could,
I said.
But I think it would be better if you found them out yourself. Suppose we plan a 100-year celebration and present a history written by the upper grades.
Oh, yes, Elsie exclaimed. We could make it into a pageant and everyone in school could have a part.
All right, I agreed. We'll do it for our Christmas program. But you'll need to start right away and it will mean a lot of work. Where do we begin?
Prudence asked.
How will we ever find out all we need to know? I suggest that each of you ask the oldest person in your family what he or she remembers about the school. Write down who their teachers were and the names of any schoolmates they remember. We'll bring all the information together and sort it out. What one person has forgotten, another one may remember.
The oldest person in my family is my pa, and he never went to school here, Carrie said.
He never went to school nowhere,
Julianne chimed in. Anywhere, I corrected her. He may remember the names of some of the teachers. We don't have anyone to ask, Serena said. We've only been here a month. There are some people in the valley whose families have been here for years, I told her. Miss Harris doesn't have children in school, but I know she could tell you a lot about the history of North Branch. Why don't you talk to her? Serena's face brightened. That's a good idea. I was afraid I'd be left out of the celebration. Nobody will be left out, I said. Everyone will have an important part.
I think Toby should have the best part, Edward declared. He's the one who found the rock.
He certainly will have full credit, I agreed, and Toby beamed. Now suppose you write down the questions you want answered so you won't forget anything when you talk with your families or neighbors. I looked at the heads bent over their papers and slates and thought what a wonderful lesson in history this would be. Had I known what a Pandora's box would open in the next few months, I would not have been so complacent.